right? Yeah.
Texas football snaps their two-game losing streak. The Fall Classic is in full swing, and a Longhorn legend gets his shot on the field. We've got all this and much more coming up on College Crossfire.
I don't know what to do with my
Taylor's not even here to defend himself.
I'm so excited.
Good evening and welcome into another episode of College Crossfire. I'm your host, Jeff Barker. Let's meet tonight's panel, though. We got a pretty inexperienced rookie panel here, though. No, it's going to be a good show, though. We have Diego Contreras defending his title from last week. Second appearance on the show.
Let's do it.
Still undefeated, man. 1-0.
Haven't lost yet.
Oh,
what a great record.
And the two ladies here making their first appearance. First up, we have Katerina Biancardi.
Yes.
Am I saying that correctly?
That is correct.
Alrighty. And then we have Amanda Atwell. Amanda, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm happy to be here.
Alrighty, well, guys, we begin tonight with an interesting development in the Texas Athletic Department. A report from the Dallas Morning News stated that if Texas loses the Ed O'Bannon ruling, they plan on paying their student athletes a $10,000 stipend to help cover cost of attendance and usage of their likeness. This will cost the university nearly $6 million a year, which of course won't be a problem for Texas, but could be problematic for other programs that don't necessarily profit as much off their sports programs. Guys, we had a pretty good roundtable discussion right before the show about this, and you guys all had a bunch of really good points. Diego, we're going to start with you, though. Just initial thoughts on this decision.
I think this is really interesting. I mean, this has been years in the making for a while at this point to pay college athletes, and I think this is going to set a really interesting precedent going forward. And there's just so many variables. There's so many questions. The big programs that make the most money are football and basketball, but are you going to pay volleyball players and soccer players the same amount of money? Some players like Vince Young's, guys like Colt McCoy, they have more of a likeness that is bringing in more revenue for the program. So how are you going to determine those sorts of variables once more revenue is circulating around? I think it's going to be really interesting going forward for the whole country.
But definitely, and even other college sports programs in major conferences too. I mean, like how would the likes of Kansas they got basketball, maybe Iowa State, who's pretty mediocre in kind of all the major sports that make most of the programs the most money. I mean, how are they going to afford to match that $6 million a year to pay 600 student athletes?
I think in a strange nutshell, it opens the door for 1,000 different questions, and it's going to be fun going forward. See what happens.
All right, Katerina, let's hear from you.
And one of those questions that I have personally is you think about how much are they going to get paid exactly, and not to forget also that they're going to be differentiating between the female sports and then also the men's sports, and that deals with all the legal issues of Title IX, and that gets into just a lot of different questions. I definitely do feel like these athletes should be paid at some point in some stipend because of the fact that they are bringing in the revenue for Texas specifically, or their university. They just make so many millions of dollars, and the coaches get benefited from it, the athletic departments get benefited from it, and so these athletes should get benefited from it. Majority of athletes do not go pro, so this is their opportunity to be able to definitely get that opportunity to receive a little bit of benefits.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to give all the student athletes a much more comfortable lifestyle. You saw UConn star last year, Shabazz Napier, coming out saying that he's starving out there. The NCAA is not giving him enough meals. He's winning championships, can't even eat enough food at night. But Amanda, let's hear from you.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me because as a former college athlete myself, I can see where the sport is so time-consuming in itself. If you need that extra money to be able to work a part-time job, you really don't have time to. And to have that extra subsidy from your school, considering all the benefits you give to your school in the first place, it would be really nice, and I think it would be really beneficial to the athletes.
Okay, so is everyone in favor of how it is now? So let's say Texas started this precedent, everyone else followed. $10K for everyone in student athletes on scholarship in the football program, basketball program, soccer, volleyball, all of them, swimming and diving. Is everyone in favor of that?
Not completely in favor, honestly. I still think whenever you look at college football, especially as its own separate entity, some of the risks that these players put themselves in and some of the risk versus reward ratio with concussions and head trauma, you kind of wonder if guys at big level programs that are big names, big likeliness, like they should probably be making more than $10,000. So in a hypothetical situation, sure, but not completely in favor.
And you look at it, and Katerina, you mentioned this a little bit too. There's probably guys on on the football team that, shouldn't be making as much as other guys in the football team and vice versa. Are you in favor of it?
I definitely would say so because of the fact that they do need to receive benefits. They're not all going to go pro, but I definitely think that there needs to be a difference between the ones that are going to be getting paid because they're the ones that the athletes that are starters are the ones that are contributing to the program, but the ones that maybe are just kind of on the team but they're not positively contributing, they should definitely not be making as much, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Amanda, anything else before we move on?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with it, but there needs to be certain stipulations as well. Like, what is this going to be treated as? Is this going to be treated as just a form of payment? Here you go, you played your sport. Here's some money. Or is it going to be treated as like a supplementary scholarship where they have to keep a certain GPA in order to keep receiving it? Because, I mean, what good is a college athlete that's failing even if he's bringing home championships?
Yeah, I mean, definitely just tons of different questions that we could bring up here, and we could be here all day talking about this. I'm going to start everyone off with a point. We're going to move on to Texas football now. And a 3-4 record in his first season is probably not exactly how Charlie Strong drew things up when he took over as the head coach in January. Fortunately for Coach Strong, though, the team has shown major improvements the last few weeks. Saturday's dramatic 48-45 win over Iowa State was a step in the right direction, with the offense finally putting some points on the board, pulling their own weight, and ultimately winning the game for the team with a late fourth quarter drive, set up a game-winning Nick Rose field goal. So let's get right into it with the Texas Football Talk guys' takeaways from the Iowa State game. Katerina, we'll start with you.
Well, one of my big takeaways was that the offense is definitely going to need consistency for the rest of the season. Swoops has definitely improved thus far. Every single game, it's always been a little bit better. And he brought game. I'm not going to lie, he did. But the defense didn't bring in as much, and it was very, very frustrating. You're on the edge of your seat seeing this back and forth, cat and mouse game. So we're definitely going to need to be able to move forward with Swoops' improvements thus far. But it's also important to recognize that our defense cannot play the way they did, especially about Kansas State upcoming this weekend. But overall, I would definitely say this victory was a confidence booster for Texas. Coach Strong said it himself. This is going to be his opportunity to be able to move forward. Definitely.
Yeah, it was the exact opposite of what we expected. The defense had been dominating all season, the offense not really pulling their own weight. And then, we saw the offense come out and actually win the game for them. Interesting stuff. Amanda?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat exactly. Like, Texas has a great defense, but where was it? It wasn't their last game. And if going forward in the season, this was a definite confidence booster. We know Swoops now actually has an arm that we can trust, but we also need that defense to be able to back us up because you can't let teams like Kansas State put up 45 points on you and expect to still be able to win. You have to hold them to something.
Absolutely. Diego?
I'm coming from the completely opposite camp, and I thought this game was incredibly discouraging. I thought you come back home against a bottom dweller of the Big 12 like Iowa State, and you give up more points than you did against Oklahoma and Baylor. I don't know. I thought it was incredibly discouraging. I thought the defense didn't show up, and that's kind of a bad sign. We're about to go into Manhattan. We got some big games coming up, and if we can't put away a bottom dweller from the Big 12 at home after a couple losses.
Well, Texas kind of is a bottom dweller in the Big 12 right now. At the moment, I think 7th in the Big 12 right now. They do at 2-2. They still do have a chance to, if they win out, but that's not what it's looking like. Charlie Strong coming in, taking over the new program. I think this was a big win. I agree with Katerina and Amanda on this one. I don't know, Diego, how discouraging
it was.
But, just the defensive performance more than anything, or just all of it?
All around.
But I don't think it's discouraging to come out and you really got to start somewhere, coming out and winning that game in the end. Big time plays from Swoops in the offense.
A close finish whenever you expect them to kind of pull it out. It's not that encouraging to me.
All right, well, Diego not sold. I'm going to give the point to Katerina and Amanda on this one. This Saturday, Texas will head north to Manhattan, take on Big 12 leading Kansas State Wildcats. Wildcats are tough to beat at home and are led by Jake Waters and a crew of experienced senior playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. So it won't be easy for the Horns to leave Bill Schneider Stadium with a win on Saturday. Guys, keys to victory for Texas if they have any chance of pulling off the upset, and do they have any chance of pulling off this upset? Amanda, we'll start with you.
I mean, I like to not be a pessimist and think they do have
Oh,
a
was that a
chance.
shot at Diego?
Shots fired.
But in order to
Shots from
win,
across the panel.
they're really going to have to improve their defense in order to protect swoops from Kansas State's swarming offense, or Kansas State's swarming defense. That's what I meant. They're going to have to protect him to give him time to make decisions, because that's one area where Swoops has been struggling, is making confident decisions and being able to complete his passes. And they're just going to have to, the offense from the pass game really showed us a lot, but the defense is going to have to go back to what it was earlier in the season.
Okay. Diego?
You
a little more encouraged on this one?
No.
No?
No, still discouraged. We're not going to win this one. I guess I'll start there.
Going to be a blowout in Manhattan?
It's going to be a blowout in Manhattan. This is my Big 12 favorite right now, I think, honestly.
We'll get to that.
Our chance to win the game, if we can contain them a little bit. This is a high-powered offense in Manhattan. If we can contain them a little bit, and like Amanda was saying, if we can build Swoops' confidence early on in the game, maybe a couple short pass plays, some short completions, and get them going for some bigger plays down the stretch, and contain them offensively, then maybe it'll be a close game. But to the second half of the question, I don't think there's a chance of pulling off the upset.
Okay. Katerina, you were positive in the last question. Are you keeping the positivity?
I am. You know, I have my horns up for these Longhorns. I believe that this team has an opportunity. Every team and every program has that opportunity to have an upset. They have to. You know, that's what makes college sports so exciting. But specifically for Texas this weekend, it's going to be necessary for them to come out strong, just like Coach Strong, against this powerful, disciplined Kansas State team. But more importantly, the offense is going to have to open up so Swoops is able to run and gain that yardage. And the defense is going to have to bring their A game. It's just, they have to. But I like upsets. They're fun.
You know, college football, that's what's great about it. Any given team can beat any team on any given day. Love the positivity, but I think I'm going to go with Diego on this one. I think I'm going to be realistic. I'm going to say that it's going to be a close game. I'm not going to agree with you on the blowout, but I do think Texas is going to be a little bit too tough of a test for them going into Manhattan. Getting booed from the audience now. Producers are telling me that I'm being too negative now, but I'm seeing eye to eye with Diego on this
It's
one.
realistic. You got to be real about it. You got to be real.
Hey, but I am encouraged from what I saw in the Iowa State game, though. I'm going to disagree with you on that. Diego's going to get the point. It's going to be tied 2-2 going into the break. Coming up next, we'll talk World Series. Take a look around the Big 12. Stay tuned. We're back here on College Crossfire. Diego, Katerina, and Amanda joining me on the panel tonight. Here's how the scoreboard looks after round one. Actually, pretty simple. It's all tied up at 2, guys. And now it seems like we have this very same discussion every week. Who's the best team in the Big 12? Early on, it was OU and Baylor. Then OU got knocked off. Then we all agreed on Baylor. But now Baylor got dethroned last week at West Virginia. TCU also bounced back in a big way, crushing Oklahoma State. So obviously a ton of parity in the conference this year. Guys, we're going to ask the question once again this week. Best team in the Big 12? Diego.
So I guess I jumped the gun a little earlier, but I like the Kansas State Wildcats. I think you go back a little bit, and they were up 21 against Baylor in Waco. And it was kind of a weird game down the stretch at the finish. Had they held on to that, we wouldn't even be having this conversation probably. They may be ranked in the top 10 at some point, and we'd be just flat out saying Kansas State Wildcats. So they're my favorite right now. They've shown a lot throughout the season, even in losses.
Okay. Expect a little more from you there, Diego. Easy choice, but Katerina,
says the guy with the purple shirt.
Taking the easy choice. Yeah, true, I'm rocking the K-State colors right now.
Well, he could.
Getting booed from the audience again.
He could be supporting the TCU. Just saying.
Okay.
TCU is purple.
Yeah.
And that is
a Texas team.
That is a Texas team, and actually that's my pick for the finish on the Big 12. Because of the fact, the reason why I think that they're going to finish up on top is because they have probably the easiest route ahead for their games. They have one loss, yes, but Kansas State has a harder road to face the rest of the season. And the Big 12 is just an exciting, chaotic league to watch. And so I'm excited to see how these different teams just play out.
Okay. Amanda?
I'm kind of in between teams on this result. I'm in between.
Texas.
Yeah, Texas. They're going to take the Big 12. I'm in between K-State and Baylor currently. I'm really hoping for that K-State upset this weekend, of course. But, I mean, I'm more leaning towards Baylor. I think they're probably a pretty confident pick. But I don't know. It's just the way this Big 12's been treating us so far. You just never really know at this point. One team could be one, like that Baylor and TCU game. Who knew Baylor was coming back from that? But
definitely. I'm going to agree with Katerina on this one. Give her the point. I like the Horned Frogs. Guys, not that my opinion means anything. Last week I said that Baylor, they were 6-0 last week. I said that they were going to finish the season undefeated, make it to the college football playoff, win the Big 12. But clearly, my opinion doesn't mean that much. I'll just jump the gun a little bit on that one. But I do like the Horned Frogs. Katerina, I do think they have probably the easiest road ahead, and they have looked good so far, bouncing back after giving up that 21-point lead on the road to Baylor. Guys, moving on to the Fall Classic now, the Giants crushed the Royals in Game 1, snapping their 8-game playoff winning streak and putting a halt to the momentum that they've built up the last few weeks. Game 2 going on right now. I believe it's 2-2 in the bottom of the 8th inning. But guys, have the Royals run into their kryptonite against the Giants, or are they going to be able to bounce back in this series? Katerina.
I don't think the Royals are going to be able to bounce back. I don't think, because of the fact they have a lack of experience. The World Series are, especially for the Giants, they have that experience that the Royals lack. Yes, everybody loves a Cinderella story, but the World Series is a little bit different. The difference is because the Giants are very hungry for that third World Series in the past 5 seasons. I think the Giants.
That dynasty.
Absolutely.
Amanda?
I mean, I disagree. I'm going with the Royals, especially hearing that score. They're obviously not struggling like they were today. And I feel like you can look at it from the same perspective with a new team that hasn't won a World Series yet. They're hungry for that win. They want that World Series. And I just think with their hitting lineup they have and then their strong pitching in this game, I think they'll be able to pull through.
Yeah, definitely a great matchup. Diego, what do you think?
I'm with Katerina on this one. I think after an 8-game win streak, you go back home for the start of the World Series and you get shellacked. I don't know. Great word. Like Katerina said, the San Francisco baseball Giants are they're postseason proven. They've great pitching, great defense. I don't think it's going to be a sweep or anything like that. I think it might be a competitive series, but I like the Giants.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Amanda. I think I like the Giants too on this one. I mean, it's an even year. Hard to argue with that. The Giants have just been unbelievable when they actually make the playoffs the last 5 years. Katerina, you mentioned going for their third title in the last 5 or 6 years. I think their experience is going to be too much. And the way the 2-3-2 World Series format works out, I think that's going to go automatically in favor of the Giants. Even though they weren't. They didn't have home field advantage going into it. I definitely think that's going to favor them now that they got Game 1. And if they can get this one, I think you can almost say it's all but over at 2-0 going into the next 3 games in San Francisco. Diego and Amanda are going to get the point on this one. And guys, that's some cool Longhorn news. Diego and Katerina. Excuse me, Diego and Katerina.
It's okay.
I misspoke there. Hey, you got your points. It's going to be on the scoreboard.
I did get my points. Okay, sorry.
Now, guys, cool Longhorn football news now. Colt McCoy got his chance on the field this past Sunday when Jay Gruden benched back up Kirk Cousins. McCoy took advantage of the opportunity, throwing for 128 yards, 1 touchdown, leading the Redskins to a 19-17 victory over the Titans. Colt's been named the starter for the Skins next week against the Cowboys, but Gruden's also made it clear that RG3, as soon as he's healthy, he will be back in the starting quarterback role. But guys, is this something that Colt can build off of, or was it just a fluke? Can he turn things around? I see you shaking your head. We'll get to you in a minute, Katerina. Amanda, start us off.
I mean, I'm always cheering for Colt McCoy. I mean, what Longhorn is it? And I feel like he has this confidence in him in his pro football career. I feel like he's going to bring it back. With the strong field of receivers in front of him, I think he's really going to bring it back and show them what he has, especially after that game. Obviously proven to be successful. I have confidence in him. I mean, I'm always cheering for him. Even though they're playing the Cowboys this weekend, I might cheer a little if they score against the Cowboys. But.
Okay, Diego.
So I guess the panel might shun me for this one again for being a little too cynical about Texas sports, but I mean,
even come here.
My horns are up. This is 1917 against the Titans. They're just at the bottom of the NFL right now. It was a great performance, and I'm happy for Colt McCoy. And I think he'll have a good career in the NFL, maybe as a backup spot somewhere. But
dude, that's the best spot in the NFL too.
That's true.
Make a ton of cash, and you don't do much of anything.
But to say it's gonna be some sort of career turnaround, some resurgence of Colt McCoy, that's a little too premature.
Okay. Katerina?
I disagree. I think this is Colt's opportunity to have that second chance to be able to play. When you think about his devastating final college career of ending out in the with his shoulder injury, it's just, I mean, it's sad because he could have been the opportunity to have an outstanding NFL career. So I'm really excited for his opportunity here. I think this is going to be tough. It's not going to be easy whatsoever. The offense is going to have to adjust to him, and he's going to have to adjust to them, and they're going to have to work together. But overall, I think this is his opportunity to be able to have that that second chance and to be able to perform. He's going to have to bring the heat.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to have a really good game against the Cowboys because that might be the last shot he gets. I mean, Jay Gruden said that basically no matter what, RG3 is the starter when he comes back. I mean, they've put so much, behind RG3, so they're obviously going to, put all their chips behind him like they have and make him the starter as soon as he's healthy and ready to come back. I think I'm going to go with Diego on this one. Love the positivity, guys, but I don't know if he's going to get enough of a shot. I'll always be rooting for Colt, too. But, I don't know if this is necessarily a resurgence. I don't know if I'm buying that. Diego's going to get the point. Time for our final break of the night. When we come back, we'll crown a winner in our rapid-fire round. Don't go anywhere. It's College Crossfire. Back here on College Crossfire, let's get a quick score update before we continue. We got Diego and Katerina tied up with 4. Fixed it on the scoreboard, Katerina. Sorry about that earlier.
Okay.
Amanda with 2. Guys, it's rapid fire. Everything's worth 2. And as we always say on the show now, that I'm the host here, it really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter until rapid fire. Guys, we're going to talk about some NFL now. We didn't get to it in the beginning of the show, so we're going to get to it now. A lot of good play going on in the NFL. Currently 10 teams with at least 5 wins through the first 7 weeks of the season. So simple question right here. Best team in the league. Anyone can jump in, rapid fire.
The Dallas Cowboys. They're the best. All right, the Dallas Cowboys, they're on fire right now. DeMarco Murray, he set that NFL record of having 100 rushing yards with the 7-season start. That's fantastic, and they're only going to go forward. I know I said I wanted Colt to do well. I want him to do well, but the Cowboys are going to win. They're the best right now.
Hey, so you're pretty conflicted on Monday night this coming week.
No, I want Colt to do well, but I'm rooting for the Cowboys overall.
Okay. Anybody else jump in?
I just still can't completely buy the Cowboys. They're at the top. They're at the top of the NFL for the time being, but I can't buy it completely. They've had too many blunders in the past seasons. I actually like the guy that you had up on the screen for the introduction. I like the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning. I believe in old vets, and I think the gunslinger and his squad are playing some good football. They're in the league in passing right now, and they're covering great ground.
Just a Texas hater, man. I mean, you are just getting
No.
You are getting mean mugged from across the panel right now.
Sorry.
Amanda, what do you think?
I'm for the Cowboys. I'm all for the Cowboys. I'm all for, being a Cowboys fan and watching these past couple seasons has been a rough life. And if there is any sign of hope, I'm going to cheer for that hope. And I think they've got it, but I'm pretty conflicted on Monday night, too. I really want Colt to do well, but honestly wouldn't be the saddest if the Cowboys lost. But at the same time, I'm happy either way.
Okay, I think I'm going to give everyone a point on this one. Couldn't really make up my mind there. Getting booed from the audience again, guys.
How about them Cowboys?
We're going to keep it in the NFL for our second rapid fire of the night. The league's been playing games in London for a couple years now. Also been considering putting a team across the pond. The games so far have been met with relative success, and a few British officials have spoken out recently in favor of bringing a team to the city. So are you guys in favor of a team in London? And what do you think maybe a good name would be for a team out there? Getting creative here in rapid fire. Anybody jump in?
I like it. We've been playing games out in London for a couple years now, and it's worked out really well. I don't see any reason not to take a team to London. Transportation is easier in 2014 than it's ever been, so jet lag isn't really going to be that big of a deal. And the scheduling always works out well for whatever team is going to London. The NFL works really well with that. And I like the idea of expanding to other countries. I like it a lot.
I just think you don't have a team in LA, and of course I'm biased because I want to see a team in my hometown. But still, when you're all the way in London, you're so secluded from the rest of the country, from where all the other 31 teams are. So.
But they have a really big market out there. They would have an entire country backing this one team.
London can get up for maybe 3 NFL games a year, but can they get up for 8 NFL games a year? And if they get the Jags, are they really going to be? Are they going to be jazzed for 8 games a year? I don't know.
I think they would. It's an entire country. That whole country will be behind this team.
Katerina, Amanda, what do you guys think?
I think specifically that I don't think a full team should be there. I like the idea of games being played there because it creates a hypeness for the NFL just in general. I would like to see more teams in the United States, like you said, NLA, for example. But they'll definitely serve fish and chips in that stadium, wherever that might be.
Okay.
And also their colors would definitely be red if there was a team.
Alrighty. Yeah. Amanda.
I mean, I'm kind of on the fence. It's just kind of a weird concept to me. I don't know. I feel like they should have their own league and we should have our own league, and then maybe we could play each other occasionally. I just don't know if I'm completely sold on the concept.
All right.
The London Silly Nannies.
We got some names coming from the audience. Did you guys have any names? I didn't Actually,
London Bridges.
No time for names now. We're going to have to get to the last one. I think I'm going to give Amanda the point on that one. Don't know if I'm completely sold on it either. It's going to make it a 6-all tie. Going into the last question, and guys, after breaking Jim Brown's record for the most consecutive 100-yard rushing games to start a season, DeMarco Murray decided to thank his offensive line with a few gifts. Murray got each of his 5 starting linemen their own $1,300 iMac computer to show his appreciation. Obviously a nice gesture, but do you guys think he may have jumped the gun a little bit on this one, maybe?
I think he should have given them some different Macs, like some big Macs. Like, these are some linemen.
Okay.
What are they going to do with computers?
Yeah. Some big Macs.
Feed the boys to keep them happy and keep them blocking for you.
Alrighty.
I think that incentives, psychology, all this good stuff, these guys are working hard, and they're the best team right now. He's going to reward them to keep playing the way that they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm in the same boat. I feel like it's a good idea. Maybe he should have gotten them something a little bit more significant, but I think it's a good idea.
Alrighty. Any other ideas for things to get him?
Probably they want their face on a cereal box, just like the recruits. Back in the day.
just like
back in the day. We're taking it back to the cereal boxes.
I'm still saying just take him to Fogo de Chao, get him a nice dinner,
Ooh.
make the boys happy, buy him some drinks.
Okay.
DeMarco
Maybe
Murray.
you got one. I
Healthy for them.
I think I'm going with Fogo right now. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe just just ask them, what do you want? Get them all what they want. Make them happy.
Exactly what they want. I think I'm gonna have to go with Diego on this one. I mean, gotta feed the boys. I think it may be a little bit too soon to be getting them the iMac computers. I think he just wants to, it's a little bit of an investment. He wants to, see if he can get the guys to help him out so he can sign a, mass contract at the end of the year.
You gotta feed them. They gotta be fed.
Diego, I'm sorry, man. We don't have time for your FaceTime again this week. Katerina, Amanda, thanks for joining us on the panel tonight.
Thank you so much.
That's all the time we're going to have. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of College Crossfire. As always, catch us right here every Wednesday night, same time, same place. Thanks for tuning in.
Hook 'em horns.
I love the horns, guys.
Go Cowboys.